Can I just pull it out now? Yes, I can. Welcome back to my hangar. It's Sunday and the weather is pretty nice. It's a nice 65 degrees out. So really good weather to be working on your airplane. And in this case, the Mooney Mustang, as you can see here in the background. So what are we going to go over today? Well, I'm hoping to do a little bit of tidying and organizing. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff that I pulled out of the airplane. I bought this scale from Amazon. And I'm going to be weighing a lot of the components and keeping a record of what I've pulled out and then putting it aside. You can see from the previous video, I had removed the vacuum pump, which I have a blank for. Nothing much has happened with the engine since. And what you can see over here is, yes, this is my mess. All of the stuff that I've pulled out, the heavy cabling, and then everything that's here on my wing. And don't worry about the wing being scratched. The airplane's eventually going to get painted. So you can see here everything that I pulled out. Well, obviously I didn't pull this out, but a lot of stuff that came out of the cockpit. And that's just part of it. Over here you can see there's even more. Down here, which is everything that was on this back shelf here. A lot of components here in the back. So there's weight in the front and in the back. The two heaviest components in the back were this, a King DME 700, which was, which you can see here, 12.4 pounds. This is the record holder. This is the heaviest thing that's come out, individual unit that's come out of the airplane, and it was in the back. And then this other thing here, which is a KSG 100 slave directional gyro, and that was 7 pounds, actually 6.7. The radio here is probably the King KX170B, which is 7.4 pounds. This is probably the record holder for what was in the front of the airplane. So here you go. So that's pretty cool. Oh, that's somebody that doesn't have a muffler. Yeah. Anyway. And so you can see all the wiring that came out, the vacuum hoses. Those vacuum hoses aren't very heavy, but this cabling is. And here's the other side of it. So a lot of stuff that's come out. And what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be removing more of the panels because there's still some wiring here on this side that we need to get rid of. This black wiring. It's ADF cabling, and you can see there's some here on the front as well. So on both sides. Not sure why, but we want to get it out. And so I'm going to have to remove the paneling to figure that out. And the front's looking pretty bare, and that's normal. This is from the top here. This molded piece of plastic, very thin. I'm wondering if we should fiberglass the back of it, or maybe do away with it altogether. We can decide that later. For now, we're going to put it aside so it doesn't get damaged. So we're going to remove this. So we don't want to really break this, but it's just plastic. Could it be metal? It's possible that it's metal, but I think it's already breaking somewhere in the middle here. So let me show you where I think it's breaking. Remember, this plastic is from 1960s, and here I can feel it breaking. It looks like it's a wrapped piece of aluminum, so we may be okay. Maybe I'll reuse this. We'll keep it, but we'll put it out of harm's way. All right. Let's see if we can get some more of this stuff off. There's a small screw here. I don't see any other screws. Would that be it? So let's see if we can get this off. There we go. There's one panel. I think I'll just leave this screw in there. But I don't think it was meant to be screwed in, to be honest. Got one panel down. Very thin plastic. There's a part number. Might be good to scan all of this, get the dimensions of these parts for future use potentially. Here we have some flathead screws, so let's try that. Nope. Nope. Flathead, please. Nope. Here we go. Here's a flathead. So here, this is secured with a nut here and a nut here. We'll see how easy it is to get them out. But I can't remove this panel until I remove that. So let's see if one of these sockets is going to be the right size. Nope. Yes. Holy crap. That is not good. It went down there. I lost the socket and it was the right size. Damn it. But it doesn't feel like I'm going to be able to remove it easily. No. Oh, damn it. And it was the right size. So now I'm going to have to take this off, try and retrieve that. All right. Because if I leave it till later, I'll forget. My brain, my wife says I have a brain that shreds information, anything past today. It's my filing system. She'll remember absolutely everything. And I'll have no memory of details past yesterday. It's a problem. But don't worry, it's not because I'm going grey. It's always been that way. Alright, so I think they safety wired here in lieu of fastening it. So I'm just going to take this safety wire. Oh, no, it wasn't attached. So what is keeping... Oh, I see. It is safety wired in. So this needs to be clipped. So let's do that, because my intention was to take these lower panels out as well and just get bare boned. So for some reason they did this. Safety wired here, maybe because they forgot that it was fastened here. And here there's a missing screw. So that's what happens. Instead of replacing the missing screw, they safety wired it. Which you can see here. I'm going to remove this. Which is kind of silly. They could have just found the replacement screw that ties into here. I guess they misplaced it, and this was easier. Or cheaper. Or less time consuming. Alright. Anything going on down here? I have an interesting clip here. I think that has to do with the front. So I think this is how it comes out. I may be wrong. Get it past. I probably should have removed the carpet first. Let's see if we can do it without removing the carpet. Yep, we can. And then pulling it out like that. Woohoo! Some cardboard backing. You can see the interior, how it's attached. So this should not be too complicated to improve. And this trim here is interesting, and that's probably where the plastic mounted, but I don't think it's really serving its purpose. All right. And here's my socket. So I found it. And is this the right size? Feels that way. Yeah, this is the right size, which is 5/16. So let's see if I can find a socket wrench for it. Here you can see the torque bar of the trim for the Mooney. So this torque bar goes all the way to the front, to the trim wheel, comes down on an angle through the pressure vessel. And it's going to be interesting once we remove this one to see how that goes in and out of this pressure vessel without creating a mega leak. So I'm wondering what technology, or what technique they used to make sure that this would not create a penetration through the pressure vessel that would leak. Anyway, so another washer. Not sure why that's there. We have a nut. So a bunch of treasures. Maybe they'll come in handy. Metal shavings that I think I want to vacuum. I definitely want to clean it up. But let me get this armrest off first. Stand by. Climbing in and out is half the fun. Reminds me of when I was a kid. Climbing in and out of a treehouse. Confined spaces. So anyway, I got my socket wrench. Now let's get the 5/16 here and see if we can get this to come off. There we go, came off. Alright, let's put this back on so we don't lose them. And simple aluminum base or aluminum tray, or definitely a piece of aluminum with a piece of foam, and then the fabric wrapped around it, glued obviously. So if I decide to refurbish this, it should be pretty straightforward. Redoing the interior of an airplane is intimidating, but if you preserve the original parts, it shouldn't be too difficult. All right, you can see these big chunky cables, ADF cables, running all the way through, and the goal is to remove these. We don't need these anymore. And also, having all of this off is going to help whoever installs the avionics, probably not me, run the cables through unhindered to where they need to be, which is... So, can I get this one out? Oh, this is interesting. So they're fed through these eyelets here, and they're snug. They do move through, but they're definitely snug. Now I have no use for this cable, so so basically I can cut it wherever I need to put it through, which is probably going to be easier. I'll put it through both ends. And there's some newer insulation, or did they put it on backwards? Not sure. You can see that here. Huh, this is interesting. Wonder what that was about. I'll have to check the other side. But this looks like some sort of an inlet for static air. And what's this one for? That'll be interesting too. So let's put this insulation. May upgrade the insulation, who knows? And then we have the coaxes coming along here, coming down. A lot of coaxes. And for some reason they didn't route them through here. This there a reason for that? For interference? They didn't want to be close to the power. Could it influence the signal, potentially? I could see that being a good reason, because also the ADF is wired up here. So being signal cables that are more sensitive, maybe that's why they weren't run in proximity. But remember, when I took this off, this was chock-a-block with cables too, so they just may not have had the room to do that. Now here, there's a very old piece of tubing here. I'm not sure what this is about and where this is going. It's going upwards here, and it looks like it's a metal fitting. I'll have to see what that is all about. Obviously going down here. So, oh, this one literally goes nowhere. This one doesn't seem to be going anywhere either. So what was that all about? I doubt they're supposed to, or are they static? Is it cabin pressure? I don't know. But it's going up here. Further up maybe? Not quite sure. We'll have to figure that one up as well. Is it important, or can it be removed? Okay. So since the ADF wire is glued or tied over there, I'm just going to section it here and then pull it through. So that'll be easy. We'll just do this. There we go. It's dual coax loop. Yep. And then we should be able to just pull these. Oh wow. There's quite a bit more here. I didn't anticipate. They had excess wire and they obviously looped it. That's okay. Still pull it out. And maybe whoever's installing avionics, if they need to run cable all the way back there, they may be able to do so through these eyelets. There's more GPS wiring. This is coax for GPS antenna, presumably. This one looks like it's coming from up here. Put that back in there. So you can see the size of this wire, and that's only a section of it. And I've also got to remove some of it from the other side. I think it runs along this side. Not sure why, but I suspect they ran out of room on one side of the airplane. Or is this something else? No, yeah. That's the one that they connected to the ADF antenna, which is the one that runs along the right-hand side of the airplane. So this one was abandoned. And maybe because it's the original one, because you can see these they're not zip ties, but they're the ties of the time. You see, this is the original wire. Something must have failed, and they put in some new ADF wire on the right hand side and ran it through the back panels. And again, the reason they did that was because it may have been easier for them to do that than to feed this all the way back through. Who knows? But yeah, they obviously didn't go to the trouble of removing these panels. That wouldn't have been that bad. They could have done it. But maybe they didn't want to get bogged down in the front. Maybe it was easier just running it through the back. All right, let's make some room, because I've removed some panels and I don't want to be inadvertently squishing them. I think it just slides out. Yep. So that's great. That's clever. It's nice when things come apart easy. This is interesting. So here we can see that the torque tube, which I can turn like this, goes through some kind of a contraption here, which is meant to seal the penetration into the pressure vessel. Let's see if there's any goodies hidden behind this. Nope. Here's some electrical wire power. Lots of stuff going on here. Where's this going? It's going down to these. And these are obviously going through the pressure vessel here. These power supplies. So we'll leave that the way it is. And this, I'm thinking, is a conduit for the cooling. So I'm guessing that this ventilation motor blows air up here into the ceiling. And we're not going to mess with that yet. Let's take this one out. Hopefully it's not too complex. I think it's going to be a little bit trickier because there's this vent here. And this vent seems to be overlapping. So I might have to take that off. And also this cover here might have to come off. This is for the emergency gear deployment. So it might be trickier to get this one off. And I may not need to do that. So I'm going to have to get this off next. They got the shape right, but it's bulging here because they presumably put too much insulation behind it. So it's been slightly deformed. It's bulging out here. And with the heat, it's kind of adapted to the shape, presumably of this cable pushing out along with that insulation. Oh, it's going to be fun putting this thing back together. Alright, the keys we'll put somewhere else. There we go. Oh, there's the starter. Cigarette lighter. In case of an emergency cigarette required. This cover for the starter. Oops, don't want to lose that. Is that right? Come on. You know you want to. What's holding it in? Is there another screw here? I'm not seeing anything. It's catching on something. I guess that's... There we go. We got the one here with the ashtray and the emergency gear procedure. So we could copy this somehow and probably blank out the cigarette lighter and the cigarette tray, which is actually a little bit of weight to it. And instead of a cigarette lighter, we could easily turn this into some kind of a USB or voltmeter or whatever you want to put here. The flange is already ready for it. So that's definitely something I want to look into. All right, so let's take this insulation out. Oh yeah, I was never going to be able to pull it through. Look at the turns and the ties that are here. Not sure what this cable is for. We'll figure it out. Here's a static. That looks like a static line. I'm wondering if this is for cabin air of some sort. Anyway, this insulation is behind, so that's not hurting. Yep. We'll have to figure out what kind of insulation we're going to put back in. I'm wondering if there's a better material. Maybe you guys can recommend some. Woohoo! That's nice when it comes out like that. There we go. And it's some pretty old wire. It's called Federal Cable. Rec K111. And half a pound. it's going outside, that's for sure. So that ADF cable was coming through this side, and it wasn't being used for anything. And then the one I actually took off the back of the actual ADF unit was this one. And this one you can see is on the different side. And so this somehow is going through the airplane to the back. What I'm guessing is they routed it somehow through here. I doubt that they went to the ceiling, but it is possible. But it might be easier to remove this over here to see which way it goes and then be able to pull it out. But I don't think this side of the airplane was designed for wiring, so whatever they did here was improvised. And you can see there's another cigarette tray, ashtray. There we go. See, there was damage to this side, probably from so many annuals where they would remove it. And here they actually used some fiberglass, epoxy, a lot of epoxy actually, more than you need. Emergency oxygen to be used only. Well, you get the gist of it, because this has built-in oxygen. All right. So let's get you over here a little bit closer. Get this insulation out. Seeing a couple of power wires. Is that a switch? That looks like a switch. That's the switch for the door, so it knows when the door is locked. Okay. And I don't see anything behind it, so they didn't run the cable through there. Let's pull this piece of insulation, which looks newer. And yeah, that's where they shoved this in. You can see the cable's going down, so it goes down and it runs along the bottom and then makes its way back up top. That's how they did it. So let's see if we can pull this out. It's coming. Okay. All right. And that's strange. It's the exact same cable, but they ran it twice. Once on the right and once on the left. They obviously changed their mind about it. Weird. Anyway, we're not going to be able to pull it all the way through, but I might be able to pull it through to this panel so I don't have to undo this panel. So we'll focus on this one, taking this out, and then maybe we can pull the wire through so I don't have to remove this panel, because this panel involves taking this off, that off, or maybe not. This for sure. So this would be less work. So let's see if I can get away with that. If not, it's going to have to come off anyway. And this is going to involve me removing these, maybe these, and then be able to slip this out, hopefully. Let's move this out the way. Yep. I don't know if you can see, but it's obviously been removed many times. This is a strap to the door. I'll have to take that off. It's a flathead screw. So let's just do it. I'll do that one last. It's mostly just probably to prevent it from flapping in the wind. We're in the hangar, so there's no risk of that. Well, not today anyway. Okay, yeah, you can see. And there's a cable. So it's not a leather strap. The leather strap is just cosmetic. There's actually a wire cable inside the leather strap. So that's clever. Like that. So this is coming. Nope, I need to still undo these two. So now the question is, can I just slip it out of its position? will it just come out? Oh, is there a screw down here? No? Yep, I was able to pop it down. I was right. But when we put it back in, we'll have to remove this. But for now, I can just slide it out. That's how it's designed. There we go. Cool. And again, it's just some sort of a cardboard backing. But that's all good. And here's the cable, and it's been taped. Oh my gosh. All the way along. What were they thinking? Can I pull it? Will it come? Oh no. Yeah, no. So I needed to remove this, but as we're seeing, it's catching. This is not the way you do things, but they obviously did it in a hurry. So here you can see how it goes up and around the baggage door. Down here, over here, and here it literally goes underneath this vent. They managed to tuck it down. So what I'm going to try and do is see if I can wiggle it through. If I can wiggle it through. No, it's really, oh, it's in tight. Now I'm going to have to take this vent off. That one's off. Bottom one. All right. Ooh, that was my knee. That made a crunchy sound. Snap, crackle, pop. Change bit. That one's too small. That one's tough. Manually. Alright, now there we go. That's maybe why I couldn't get it out. It was really tight. They must be pushing down on the cable that's behind it. Let's see. That one too. So I don't agree how they did this. Instead of replacing the cable on the left hand side, they basically just installed a whole new one on the right hand side. Alright, let's try and keep this all together. Up! Almost, 50%. There we go. This should now come out. I think I've detached it all. It's a little bit glued, or it was pressed into position. And you can see where the cable was. That being tight around it, that was never gonna come out. So good thing we did that. All right, so now the cable is out of the way. So that's the vent, or one of the vents. That presumably goes, is it going into the floor? Is it coming up from the floor? Looks like it may be coming up from the floor. Don't see anything interesting behind here. I'm checking everything as I go. There's some new insulation there. Newer. And then the cable goes all the way to the back. We need to remove this because this cable's going up here and guaranteed it's going along here and over there. So we've got to figure out how to get it out. So 2 flathead screws. Hopefully I don't need to remove the armrest. We should be able to get this all out. So this is a full panel. I thought this might just be a single piece of trim, but it's not. It's actually connected. Well, you'll know how to take the interior out of a Mooney M22 Mustang, if ever you can find one. Let's see if that was the last one. Affirmative. So another piece of the puzzle. There we go. And now we have full view of the routing that they did where they kept trying to tape it. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to bother. We're not keeping this cable. So, bye-bye. Bye-bye, cable. There we go. Now I can pull it down. They have an eyelet here. I think they must have put that in. And then there's another one down here. And it doesn't look original. Did they put one here too? A lot of shavings. Maybe vacuums weren't a thing back then, shop vacs. More cable. So now this is going to get interesting. I'm going to take this off. Is how easy is it going to be to get these out, considering we have these grommets, and how much is it going to wind around? This is the one we want to pull through. And I don't think I'm going to be that lucky. Here we go. Maybe some of you would have left the wire in the airplane, but that would have bugged me to know that that wire was still in here when I could have gone an extra hour or two to take it out. Plus, I'm getting to see the insides, the guts of this airplane from doing all this. Oh, yeah, so this is off. Just need to remove this one here. All right, came out. Voila, another piece of the interior. All right, so we're making progress here. Now I have to take this off here, this L bracket, a little bit of an L channel, so that I can pull this off and pull this wire through. But look at this. Had this got anything to do with them putting in two sets? Was this the side that failed? I don't know. I'll have to rewatch the video to see which one was tied to the ADF, but I think it was this one, this side. So maybe this is just happenstance that it's frayed like that. Obviously where they pulled it through the aluminum and it somehow cut it. Voila. Nothing too complicated, but nice. To avoid damaging. I don't know if that was totally necessary, but it's a nice little bit of trim. Nice thought. Oh, it's gone up high. So here we can see. So here I can see that this cable is actually going up much higher. Is there an antenna up there? Why is it going up? Let's check. Well, there is an antenna up there. That one there. Is that part of the ADF? Let's find out. What I'm going to do is I'm simply going to take a picture of this and feed it to Grok or ChatGPT, whichever you prefer. Let's upload the picture. This is an aircraft antenna. What type is it? The antenna in your photo is a blade antenna, a common low drag design used on many aircraft for external mounting on the fuselage. Okay, skip that paragraph. Blade antennas are widely used for VHF communications. Why there's a coax going up on this side? I just hope it has nothing to do with this one. So it's probably a comm. So let's continue taking some stuff off here to figure that out. So how far up is it going to go? How much do I have to remove here? This is more work than I anticipated. What is this? Oh, that's pretty cool. Another interesting feature here is, look, it's for hanging your clothes. That's cool. This cable goes up in the ceiling here. I'm not sure why it has to go up so high. We can get to it. There it is. Coming along here, comes along there, and then comes down. So maybe if I section it off as far as I can get to it, we can get it out. It's these right angles, that's the problem. There we go. Some more cable is out, because these right angles are the problem. These are smaller grommets too, and there's some chafing here as well. See? So if that ADF wasn't working right, it could have been part of it. Oh, now let's reach in here, see if I can pull this stuff through. Oh, yep, got it. All right. There was that grommet. This grommet was really keeping it in there. And now it's easier to get this one out. This one with this grommet. So, mission accomplished. And I bent it. Not a big deal. I'll get it back on. I'll take the rubber mallet to it. And it'll be like new. All right, let's get one in the middle. All right, good. And then let's just get a rubber mallet, bash that back in. All right. All right, let's do this. We can always make it better later, but for now this will do. There we go, like new. Successfully removed all the ADF cable from the airplane and remove the panels, which will come in handy. Remove some of the insulation foam. You can see all the stuff on the floor. All these cables can go over here. Wow. All of this stuff here. Lots of stuff. All right. There's an empty box, which I'm going to put on this scale. All right, let's start putting the cables in there. All right, it says 15 ounce. Might not be accurate when it's a small quantity. see this tubing here. There you go, 3 pounds. Should we put the ADF antenna in there? Yeah, why not? Interesting. This is more ADF stuff. Let's put that in there. 5 pounds almost. It's going to be interesting. More of this stuff in here. I don't want it overlapping. This vacuum tube is pretty lightweight. We'll try and weight it. So right now it's reading 21 pounds and 12 ounces. Now we're at 24 pounds. Basically a lot of this is various parts, if you remember me grinding out the panel. So we'll just gonna add all this in here and just keep the components that are easy to weigh individually or have a weight tag on them separate. So right now I'm at 27 pounds and 8 ounces. Here's some more bits and pieces of the panel, a manifold for the vacuum. Yeah, anything I don't have a weight for, I'm going to throw on this pile. That's the vacuum manifold. Now we're up to 30 pounds. This is a marker beacon. This was connected to the lights on the front. 14 volt, this was in the rear. And it was original to the airplane. There's a lot of wire. So, but it doesn't have an individual weight tag on it. So we'll just throw this in here. And that was 2 pounds. Yep, this is 2 pounds all by itself, the marker beacon plus the cable. So yeah, that completes it. Various bits and pieces. I think that's really everything. So 33 pounds of stuff just in this box. And then we have these vacuum lines. I'm going to attempt to weigh them, but they're not very heavy. Let's see if we can do this. Get them on top of this pile here. It's wanting to unfold. Let's get it up here. So there we go. Wow, precisely 35 pounds in this box. Everything else will be able to be itemized because they have tags. Even this small vacuum solenoid valve, on the tag it says 0.3 pounds. So 35 pounds and 4 ounces for the box. And that's it. And then we'll go through the trouble of weighing everything else. But now I don't have to worry about this box of stuff anymore. I've weighed it. So 35 pounds and 4 ounces, originating from basically the front of the airplane to the back. That's going to be difficult to figure out how to allocate for that in the weight and balance, but we'll try.